also the President's right-hand man to address us, Mr. Sean Kampondeni.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it's a great honor to be with you this morning, and let me join the press secretary in welcoming you to Sanjika Palace, and thank you for welcoming us to the city of Banda, the beautiful city of Banda, I might add. Mr. Press Secretary, I don't know if I'm the President's right hand anything, but I like to just think of myself as a servant of the Malawian people, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to provide this service of giving the people that voted for Dr. Lazarus, as well as those that did not, because he's president of the whole country, updates on what the president has been up to and what he's going to be engaged in the coming days. Now, before we dispense with the president's itinerary, I would like to just highlight, I think, one or two articles that emerged in the press over this last week that might need some clarification. We did get some concerns from the Ministry of Defense related to an article that was published, I believe, by Nyasa Times during the course of the week. The article claimed that President Chakwera was going to be ordering troops from Malawi to go into Mozambican territory. Now, this is perhaps an occasion on which it is important to remind ourselves of the responsibility we bear as people in the media to engage in responsible journalism. To publish a story about an entire head of state commanding troops to go into another jurisdiction when there is no truth in the matter is not only irresponsible, it's actually quite dangerous. And so I would like to commend all of you who make a concerted effort to do proper journalism that is based on facts. The Ministry of Defense is not a closed ministry. Things of that nature can easily be settled with a simple phone call to the principal secretary in that ministry or any official to verify whether that is actually something that is going to happen. But to just go ahead and publish something without checking with a government official is something that can actually put all of us as a nation at risk. And so I wanted, on behalf of the President, to just make an appeal to those who, unlike others in this room who engage in responsible journalism, engage in that practice to find a better way. We have a president in office who has opened the presidency to the country as well as to the press, and there is nothing to hide. There are no conspiracies. There are no machinations to do this and that and the other in hiding. The president is fully committed to being honest and open with the Malawian people, and so we welcome any inquiries. If there are clarifications that the press needs, please make the phone call to the press office, and we are in touch with the various branches of government in order to find you precisely the information you need, so that when you do publish, you're also not shipwrecking the credibility of your media houses by publishing something that then from this podium has to be thrown under the bus. We do not take any pleasure in pointing fingers at a media house, because that does no good to the cause of access to information. I think I'm not exaggerating in saying that President Chakwera desires to see media houses seen as credible and strong institutions, and even with regard to the questions that you ask of this administration. There is no censorship. There is going to be no editing of your questions, because the president has given clear directives. He wants full expression of freedom of the press, and wants the Malawian people to have access to information, which is why his administration is the very first one in the history of this country to have that law, the Access to Information Act, gazetted and to begin the process of operationalizing it. So let's make the most of the goodwill of this president. But in making the most of it, let's also try not to abuse it. And so I thought I would just make that appeal in all honesty and humility, and I hope you don't mind me doing so. At any rate, I would like to give you updates of what the president has been doing over the last week and things that he is going to engage in the days to come. As you recall, our last press briefing was here at Sanjika Palace last week, which was the president's final day in the city of Banda before he returned to the capital to attend to other matters. We did mention, I believe a few weeks ago, that this press briefing is going to be taking a break for 3 weeks, beginning, I believe, December the 21st. So we wouldn't have a press briefing on December 21st, 28th, or the 4th of January. So our press briefing here is going to be taking a break for the holidays. And so this makes this particular press briefing our penultimate one. And so I just thought I would put that out there as a reminder. Now, last week, Monday, after the press briefing here at Sanjika Palace, the president returned to Lilongwe. And the following day was World AIDS Day. And the president attended a public event in Mitundu, at Mitundu Primary School, where he appealed to the population, especially young people, to continue being vigilant in the fight against HIV/AIDS in the context of making significant inroads to reach the targets that have been set. As you know, Malawi signed up to the 90-90-90 target, but Malawi is not only on track with regard to hitting those targets, but in many respects has exceeded it. And so Malawi has challenged herself, and the president fully supports the agenda of pursuing a 95-95 target, meaning 95% of the population knowing their HIV status, 95% of those who know their HIV status to be on antiretroviral drugs, and 95% of those that are on that medication to have viral suppression and leading fruitful lives. So the president made that appeal on that occasion so that we continue to stay on top of this particular issue. So that was on the 1st of December, Tuesday, at Mitundu. In the afternoon of that day, when he returned to Kamuzu Palace, President Chakwera met with the Council of the University of Malawi. As you know, a graduation ceremony is coming up at Chancellor College to be presided by His Excellency the President, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, in his capacity as Chancellor-designate for that university. And so they came to brief him on some of the matters that need to be addressed, especially issues related to legislation and laws. You might recall that the president had announced that he is of the view that a sitting president also serving as chancellor of an academic institution is an idea he believes is anachronistic, and he would like to make adjustments in the same. But since those things are enshrined in the law, making those changes cannot just be done by a presidential decree. It has to go through legislative changes. And so they came to brief him on some of the legislative implications and give him an update on the same. On Wednesday, the 2nd of December, President Chakwera attended a Thanksgiving prayer service at the Bingu International Convention Center. He was accompanied by the First Lady, Her Excellency Madam Monica Chakwera, but also by the Vice President, Right Honorable Dr. Saulos Klaus Chilima. And the President on that occasion announced, for those of you that may have missed it, that he is going to embark on consultations with relevant authorities and agencies to see if the idea of a Thanksgiving Day, a National Thanksgiving Day, can be institutionalized to be something that happens every year as a public occasion involving everyone. He also indicated on the occasion that he regretted that his predecessors who are living, this would be his immediate predecessor, His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, as well as Dr. Joyce Banda before that, and Dr. Bakita Muluzi, all who preceded him before he took office, that they were not present for the occasion, and that he would love to make an effort to see that they are there in future Thanksgiving prayers, because he wants that event to be an occasion for national unity and for healing the wounds of the past. And so he committed himself personally to participating in making that effort for all the presidents to be together when the country gathers to pray and to give thanks. That afternoon, the president met with developers of public works from the country of Turkey. And so the president is engaged in various discussions with developers from different countries around the world in pursuit of his agenda, which he announced, I believe, on September 10th, when he stood on the floor of Parliament to deliver his State of the Nation address, that he is bringing railway back to the country. And so ever since that day, he's been engaged in these discussions to ensure that this agenda priority of revitalizing the railway system in the country in order to reduce the cost of ground transportation for goods and services is being pursued with energy as well as intent. So he met with developers from Turkey on that day, the 2nd of December. The following day, the president received letters of credence from the plenipotentiary from Zimbabwe, and that was a function at Kamuzu Palace. Zimbabwe has sent a new representative, new ambassador, and so the president received her credentials on that morning. Later that same morning, the president hosted his ongoing presidential conferences with councillors. This time he was hosting a conference with councillors from the city of Lilongwe. The mayor was there, as well as the CEO of the city and the directors of the council, as well as the councillors from, I believe, the 22 wards of Lilongwe City. They came to Kamuzu Palace and presented the challenges of developing the city of Lilongwe as Malawi's capital, as well as presenting plans they have put in place and how they would like President Chakwera's administration to support those plans. And so they did that that morning. And then, because the president knew that he was going to be participating in a summit with heads of state from the African continent at the AU forum, he engaged in various meetings in preparation for the AU summit, both related to the free trade area that they discussed at length on Saturday, as well as related to silencing the guns on the African continent, which they discussed at length on Sunday. So in preparation for that summit, President Chakwera had meetings with General Vincent Nundwe of the Malawi Defense Force, and also Minister of Foreign Affairs and Deputy Minister of Defense. As you know, the president is the Minister of Defense, so her deputy was involved in these discussions. as well as the Minister of Trade. So that was December 3rd on Thursday, and then on Friday, December 4th, the President visited the Israeli-funded greenhouse farm in Lumbadzi. And he wanted to appreciate some of the technologies they are using in order to produce vegetables that are of export quality. Now, it has been pointed out by Malawian citizens in the social media space that there are also Malawians, locals, that are engaged in various agricultural ventures that use these technologies and also have set up greenhouse farms, and there was an appeal for the President to highlight some of those and not just foreign ones. And I wanted to say today that the President already has that in mind, and he's very key to do an all of the above approach rather than just highlighting some and not others. And so this was just the beginning of his inspections of these kinds of innovations. And so the President is aware of various Malawians that are doing similar things, and he's very keen to bring those things to light and to also promote the same in consistency with his agenda to create jobs. And as you know, the majority of Malawians are employed in the agricultural sector, and so he's very keen to see Malawians be job creators in that sector and to be supported by the administration. President met with the Minister of Lands on that same morning of Friday, and the President closed his day on Friday, the 4th of December, by receiving a report from his advisors who have been working with the various international consultants that the President called to assist his administration with the development of plans and designs for a delivery unit that will be run by the President himself. I think there were some misunderstandings in some public discussions related to the President's engagement of international consultants like the Tony Blair Institute. I think some impression was created that this means that there is going to be a team of foreigners in State House calling the shots and running things. And I think it's worth making some clarifications on this so that people are not misled or made to believe the worst when it's actually something that's helpful for the country. So, in the interest of access to information, there is a little bit of exaggerated focus, I guess, on the Tony Blair Institute. Understandably so, because the Institute itself is associated with a prominent figure in the shape of Mr. Blair himself, who is well known around the world. Some impression was created that when a team was here last week from the Tony Blair Institute, Mr. Blair himself was here, and that is not true. Mr. Blair has not been in the country and is not in the country. The President's engagement was with his institute and specific experts from that institute that he requested to be availed to work with his advisors on the design of a delivery unit. The second thing that I think is worth clarifying is that the Tony Blair Institute is not the only international consultancy that the President has engaged with. The President has also engaged with Kivu International, who are actually in the country presently. The delegation from the Tony Blair Institute left 48 hours ago, and representatives of Kivu, who specialize in providing capacity support to various governance elements are presently in the country, picking up where the TBI left off. At the same time, the president, before he even engaged both of these consultancies, he had already requested assistance from the Brenhurst Foundation, and Dr. Greg Mills, who is a well-known governance expert on the African continent, was engaged by the president. They have been friends for a long time, and he asked him to submit proposed ways in which Malawi could expedite its delivery of productivity. And so the reason why these various forms of assistance are being availed to the president is because the president, over the course of his political career, has built all of these global networks and relationships with people that can add value to his ability to govern. In the spirit of servant leadership, the president, those of you who recall the days the president was in the Constitutional Court will remember the day the president went on camera while he was on the witness stand, and he articulated his philosophy of the presidency. He said, "I do not believe that the president is someone who knows everything, but someone who knows people who know things that he may not know and is able to give them the things and the tools and the platform they need in order to build capacity for results." He said that publicly in the Constitutional Court. And so he does not say those things as political rhetoric. He says it because he actually believes it. And so now that he is president, he's just saying the things that he said before he even became president. He listens to everybody. He enjoys getting advice from all and sundry, even people who disagree with him. And that's why he promised, even in the campaign, that he would meet regularly with the leader of opposition. That might be something that some people don't like. Why should you take advice from the leader of opposition? But the president believes that he can learn from anybody, even from children. He listens to children. He listens to women. He listens to civil rights groups. Right now, as we speak, the president has just come out of a meeting with the HRDC. These are not people that smile at his administration. These are people that hold press conferences and criticize him. And when he hears being criticized, their criticism, he listens to the substance. What are the concerns being articulated here? And he doesn't say, "Oh no, those are the enemies of the government. I don't want to have anything to do with them." No, not this president. This president says, the HRDC have an issue. Bring them in. I would like to listen to what they have to say. That is always President Chakwere's approach. The other time, there were issues to do with women appointments into boards and various groups that are part of the gender lobby took to press conferences and even to the streets. And President Chakwere's reaction was, they have concerns. They have a point of view. I am their president. I should listen to it. Bring them. I would like to hear what they have to say. That's always his approach. And it is his approach with people that are in the country, as well as people that are friends of Malawi from abroad. All of these consultations are being given to the president for free, because the president has a lot of goodwill. There are a lot of people who would like the president to succeed, and the president is a good judge of character, and he knows when somebody is trying to manipulate him. And so our appeal to the Malawian people is, you can trust the president to be a good judge of character and to not allow anyone, foreign or domestic, to manipulate him or to even presume to run this country. There is only one president in this country. His name is Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, and the delivery that is being designed is not just being designed by foreigners. In fact, the foreigners are merely giving input and advice. The design is being done by the president's own advisors. And once it has been put together, the one who will run that delivery unit is the president. And the people that will be running the delivery unit inside will be Malawians. Malawians at State House, Malawians from Capitol Hill, Malawians from the office of the president and cabinet. And so I think that clarification needs to be put out there. The president is not just engaged with one consultation. In fact, the president wanted me to say that even offers of consultation from Malawians who have expertise in these areas are welcome. You can contact the office of the Chief of Staff of state residences and submit proposals to assist the Chakwera administration in building capacity of the state machinery and state officials, to assist the Chakwera administration in providing policy direction, to assist the Chakwera administration in strengthening the governance institutions that he oversees. Malawians who have expertise in these areas can submit those proposals. If you are prepared to put in the work, to do it for the good of your country, and to do it for free, the president is open to that. And you can send in those proposals and the president will look at them honestly and involve you in the conversation, because he wants to listen to everybody's point of view. So that's just a little bit of extra information about the international consultancies. Now, on Saturday the 5th, President Chakwera began his participation in the virtual summit with the African Union heads of state related to the free trade agreement. The president has made it a signature part of his agenda as incoming chair of SADC to pursue the agenda of economic integration of the region. And so to get the opportunity to participate in discussions about the free trade area and the operationalization of the same is something that's very high on President Chakwera's agenda. He's very grateful for the opportunity not only to attend that summit, but he was grateful for the chance to address that summit. I believe the press secretary has a copy of the president's speech on the occasion, which he can avail to those of you in the press that wish to have a copy if you haven't gotten it already. It was a long summit. I believe the president went in sometime between 10 and 11 o'clock on Saturday and did not come out until 6 p.m. It was a two-day summit because on Sunday he went back in there, and Sunday was even longer. He was there until sometime after 8 p.m. And the address from the second day as well from the president is also readily available for you from the press secretary. This morning, as I mentioned, the president met with the HRDC in order to hear their advice and to hear their input on some of the governance issues that they feel the president needs to attend to. But also, right now, the president is finalizing his interface with the task force led by Honorable Banda, Richard Banda. As you recall, when the president was in Mzuzu a few weeks ago, he had given a radio address on a Saturday and called for and mentioned that he had directed that a task force be formed, an interministerial task force led by the Ministry of Homeland Security to make recommendations and decisions and proposals on how to tackle the growing scourge of defilement of little girls as well as sexual harassment of women. The president wants this issue to be dealt with great prejudice. And so Honorable Banda has formulated a task force, and they are meeting with the president right now at Kamuzu Palace. And as soon as that meeting is done, the president will hit the road and head south to the city of Banda, where this evening the president is going to be hosting a dinner here at Sanjika Palace with local investors from around the city as well as the country. This is done in order to raise money for education. So this is the beneficiary of this event is going to be the Ministry of Education. The President wants to challenge private sector players to make investments in the education sector. And so he's going to be hosting that dinner here tonight. Tomorrow, Tuesday the 8th, the President is going to host a presidential conference for the councillors of Zomba, who will come to Blantyre City and meet with the President, as the other cities did as well. And then on Wednesday is Anti-Corruption Day. So the President is going to be attending a function here in the city. We'll give you more details on the same, but he's going to be using that occasion to speak to the subject of corruption, which, as you know, is very high on the President's agenda of the High Five. The High Five agenda, as a reminder, is servant leadership, uniting Malawians, prospering together, ending corruption, and the rule of law. On Thursday, the 10th, the President is going to attend the UNIMA congregation for the commencement of this year's graduates, and so he's going to give the graduation address on that occasion. And Friday is when the President returns to the capital. For those of you that didn't get the press release, the President has taken a break from his weekly radio address for the month of December. He will do one radio address for Christmas, but the radio addresses that come to you weekly will resume sometime in early January. And so those are just a few updates from the President's desk. I thank you for listening. Good morning.
Thank you, Executive Assistant to the President and Director of Communications. We will now take a few questions. Capital Radio. You may use that microphone. If you may move forward, please.
Good morning. My name is Christy Gomani from Kampondeni.
If you may remove your mask so that we hear you very well.
Okay. My name is Christy Gomani from Capital Radio. The first question is to do with the issue of AIP.
Yes.
With the challenges that the program is facing at the moment, and we recently had the President even admitting that the program has got many challenges. Does the government have solutions as to how we move forward, looking at the growing season now seems to be going to an end? This is already December. So I wanted to find out if at all the government has got other alternatives to make sure that they help the needy farmers. And another issue on the AIP itself, there have been suggestions from other quarters that wouldn't it be necessary for government to consider trimming the money that is allocated to the AIP, and that the money be invested on processing machines like Irish potatoes. You know, Malawi is one of those countries that have entered into the free trade area here in Africa, so that we benefit from that as well. The other issue is to do with the President. When he appointed the cabinet back in July, he said that they work in a period of 5 months, and afterwards then he should be reviewing. When do we expect the President to do so? I think if my memory serves me well, it should be the 9th of December. That's when the 5-month period is ending after he made those appointments. And to the poor performing ministers, if I may put it that way, what would be the way forward? But as of now, what's the update on that matter? And the issue to do with the Bushiri couples, we understand the South Africa saved the Malawi government with an extradition letters. What has been the response so far? I think it's been a week since we last heard that from South Africa, from the South African government, and as of now, what's the response of Malawi as a government? Thanks.
And your name again?
Christy Gomani.
Christy?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for 5 loaded questions. We'll take those ones, then we'll move on. Thank you very much, Capital FM and Christy, for your questions. The first one is on AIP. President Chakwera believes that there have been some good things and as well things that haven't been done well in as far as AIP is concerned. In the spirit of fairness, let us not brand the whole program as a failure, because there are some success stories. There are areas where people are buying the commodities without any glitches. But this being a pilot program, we didn't expect that it would just run smoothly. It's the first time. We didn't have a lot of time to prepare on this one, but there have been so many success stories. I would like to implore the media also to focus not only on the negatives in as far as the IP is concerned. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are network problems. But the officials at the ministry are working day and night to making sure that all those glitches are sorted out. And I would also want to put a lot of focus on the beneficiaries. As I said in Lilongwe, I don't know if it's in Lilongwe or Mzuzu, that the AIP is targeting more people compared to FISP. This is by far the best in as far as the subsidies are concerned. So let's look at how many people are benefiting. Let's look at how many households are benefiting. And if you look into all those things, you realize that this is a far much better program than FISP. Over 4,000 households, and we're talking of 16 million people benefiting. We are believing that the few months that are remaining, all the challenges that have been faced, they will be looked at, and things will improve. What President Chakwera has said that all those who are sabotaging, if at all there is any sabotage, they should be dealt with. Mavenda, and we are told that in some areas others have been apprehended who are trying to do to the contrary. Your area question on the stakeholders asking or maybe looking to channel some funds for other things, who are these stakeholders?
Players in the SME sector.
Yeah, players. Which players? No, Mr. Christie, you are a journalist. Yes. When you're talking of players, I want to know which players you are referring to. The reason why I'm asking that question is because President Chakwera would want to know those people so that he directs them to the right authorities in the Ministry of Trade. Mm-hmm. The proposition is good, but tell us who are these stakeholders so that the government might engage them and find the best way in handling the same.
This is a suggestion of which has been drawn one from some economic experts, to say that, for instance...
And I'm asking a simple question to say you are referring to them as stakeholders. Then who are these stakeholders? Because government is interested to meeting them and hearing their areas of expertise. So who are these?
Just like I've said, the first people that I'm drawing this observation from are economists.
Okay.
And I think don't limit yourself in answering, because just like you've put it, to say that this is the AIP itself is very good and it is benefiting a lot of people than the FISIP. That we appreciate. But with the challenges that we are seeing, I think it makes it even more not to be good as projected. So on this issue of reducing the amount of money, one of the observation is coming from the challenges that are arising, and of course taking advantage on the African continental free trade area, that we might at least benefit on other crops that are not highly prioritized as the staple grain, of which I would believe the AIP is mainly targeting on.
So maybe
what
you need to do is, the idea is good. The continental free trade area is also focusing on a lot of women engaging in more trade. But what we are saying is, as government, as President Chakwera, would want to know those economists, would want to know those stakeholders, so that we hear from them, because this matter is technical in nature. So tell us the experts that you are referring to, then we'll do a meeting so that we hear from them on how best we can do the same. Let's move on to, you may take your seat, and thank you very much. Let's move on to the other parts of your question. You asked on President Chakwera reviewing cabinet, isn't it? I want to concur with you, and on 10th July 2020, President Chakwera presided over the swearing in of the cabinet then. And I want to quote what the president said so that we are on the same page. When he was swearing in the cabinet, this is what President Chakwera said, and I quote, "You each have 5 months to produce results that will give Malawians confidence, and that change has come. At the end of that period, you each give a report to Malawians publicly on your progress in each of the key performance indicators that I will give you. At the start of the new year, I will shortlist those of you whose performance I find satisfactory and include you among those who will be publicly interviewed for a year-long appointment on my 2021 cabinet. As you already know, Malawians are not as persuaded as I am that you are the right people for this job. The onus is on you to approve them wrong and to reaffirm me in my confidence that you have what it takes to deliver the transformation that Malawians have long cried, prayed, and fought for. Should you prove the skeptics right by being lazy, abusive, wasteful, arrogant, extravagant, divisive, and corrupt, I will not hesitate to have you replaced." End of quote. So, yes, the president spoke about that, and using the quote from the president's speech, the review will be done, and the modalities are well placed in the speech. The other part of your question is the non-performing ministers, what will happen? The non-performing ministers, according to the president, they will be replaced. But we don't know when. It's the prerogative of the president, and when that happens, you shall hear it. Okay. Let's take questions from Mitch. Do you have questions today, Mitch? Okay. Did I answer all of your questions, or have I left one? I think the Bushiri one, yes. Brenda, just 1 minute. It is true that the Malawi government received officially letters from South Africa. And I want to refer to you what the Director of Communications said on this matter. I think it was on the 16th of November, if I'm not mistaken. The Communications Director said the issue of Bushiri, the President is not going to have any meeting with anyone. He's not going to hold any private talks with anyone in as far as the issue of Bushiri is concerned. The President is aware that this matter is being handled by another arm. The security agents are handling this matter. The President has no any indication or intention of getting involved in this matter because he believes that the agents handling this issue have the capacity to deal with this matter according to the law. The President's interest in as far as Shepherd Bushiri is concerned is to make sure that the rule of law is followed. Brenda?
My name is Brenda Kaonga from Mitch Radio. I'll start with a follow-up from Christy's question. I think you did not tackle as to when the public should expect a report on the review. Of course, you have promised that the President will give a report on that, but when? And
on the cabinet?
Yes,
okay.
Because he indicated that by 9th of December.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the second question, on what the Director of Communications has indicated about the Tony Blair Institute. Mm-hmm. Others are of the view that maybe the President does not have confidence in the Malawian technocrats by considering first those from outside the country. And very lastly, I would like to find out when the President is going to honor his promise of awarding the frontline health workers in the COVID-19.
Okay, thank you very much, Mitch and Brenda, for your questions. The question on cabinet, I did answer it. Or what I am saying is the nation time ends in December. Okay. When the review is going to be done, it's up to the President. I cannot say. But we all agree that the review ends in December, and the date that you are referring to, all that information is true, but let us wait. When the President is ready, he's going to review his cabinet, and those that have not performed according to his speech, they will be left out, and probably new ones will be hired, according to what the President said on July 10, when he was swearing in cabinet. But let us wait. When the appropriate time is due, we shall hear of the review. Gonankupe Sari Badari. Brenda, you are raising a very important point on the awards. The awards, the President is waiting for the experts in the Ministry of Health to finish all the modalities on the awards. And when all the modalities are done, the awards will take place, because this is more technical in nature in as far as the Ministry of Health is concerned. The President has put a lot of effort in making sure that the ministry is ticking, and he understands that there are a lot of hardworking people in the ministry that need to be rewarded. But he has left it with the Ministry of Health to make sure that all the technicalities are looked at, and when they are done, it will be done. But I can independently confirm to you that will be happening in the new year, preferably in January. So let's wait until all the technical issues are dealt with, then the awards will be done. You had 3 questions? Oh yes, does the president have confidence with his advisors? As the director of communications has already alluded to, the president wants to listen to everyone, and he listens to everyone. The president listens to the voices of women. The president listens to the voices of men. He's listening to the members of the press whenever you are raising your issues in your programs and in your writings. But by engaging with foreign experts, that doesn't mean that he doesn't trust his advisors. But he's a listening president, and where he thinks that he can tap wisdom or a great understanding of an issue, he is more than willing to engage anyone. But also to comment on the same, that the director also mentioned that all these things, government is not paying anything. And with access of information, you can check with OPC, you can check with the relevant authorities and offices to make sure that what we are telling you is indeed the gospel truth. Because when a government or when State House is engaging experts and foreign ones in this nature, there are a lot of paperwork that is done. We cannot just hire anyone without following protocol. So these are advices that are coming for free, as the director has already alluded to. But the president has a lot of trust in as far as the advisory services that are being offered by his advisors. Let's take questions from Nation.
My name is Lakem Kandaire from the Nation. I've got one question. I do remember last week he told us that the State House is not here to respond to social media
gossip
comments. But I thought some of those comments that go around, they did have impact and are also important that you need to respond to them. One of the issues is to do with the reports that the government or the president intends to buy presidential jet. I wanted if you could comment on that.
That's another, thank you very much, Mr. Nkandawire from the Nation, but that's another gossip. Sorry to say that, but the president has no any intention of buying a presidential jet. There hasn't been any discussion on the same, and the Nation newspaper and indeed you, Mr. Nkandawire, we should treat that as another form of gossip. What the president has said is that he wants people to do so much with so little, and that's what he has said from June 23 when he was ushered into office. He expects his cabinet, he expects his advisors, he expects his workers here at State House to do so much with so little, and he's leading by example. He has been able to travel all these countries that he has been to with so little. The presidential jet is not something that is on his agenda or in his mind right now. We'll take the last question, considering that we don't have much time. 2 minutes, we can accommodate you, sir. Your name, please, and media house you are representing. Okay.
My name is Alfred Guta from Zodiac Broadcasting Station.
Yes, Mr. Guta.
Thank you. I have one question.
Yes.
There's been a heated debate on whether Malawi should legalize gay and lesbians marriages. I just want to hear from the president. What's his stand on this issue? Thank you.
Issue on?
Legalizing lesbians and gay marriages.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Guta, for your question. This issue of same-sex marriages and whether you're calling it gay has been a point of discussion in this country for a long time. What we need to do is to discuss as a country on the way forward. What do we want? But we should not leave this to the president alone. The president, as I said, is a listening president. He's going to listen to you, Mr. Guta. He's going to listen to those that are against it, those that are for it, and let's find a position as a country on how we should deal with this matter once and for all. And I want to sincerely thank you. We have now come to the very end of our discussion this morning. On behalf of President Chakwera, and indeed on my very own behalf, I would like to sincerely thank you for coming. You are not tired with us. Every time we invite you to come, whether in Blantyre, Lilongwe, and in Mzuzu, you members of the press, you always come in your large numbers. And for that, I would like to sincerely thank you. We don't take your coming for granted. As the Director of Communications has already alluded to, we'll take a break with these briefs and we'll meet again early January. And if we don't meet again before Christmas, I would like to take this opportunity to wish you, the members of the press, the very best of this festive season. May God bless you and thank you.